these platforms aren't guaranteed to last forever.
Yeah.
So it is very important for businesses to keep options open and then have backup plans.
There was like a massive migration, right, from TikTok to Red Note, or well, it's called Red Note in the US, but here we notice Xiaohongshu, and that kind of died because the TikTok refugees kind of like gave up because TikTok's back. For the next 90 days, they got to find a buyer. And the second thing is they were also super confused by by the Chinese culture and the Chinese content. So, I mean, I've never used it before, by the way. I've seen what it looks like. I know what it looks like. I don't have a massive interest in it. Who here uses it?
I've never used xiaohongshu.
I
No.
used it when I was in China.
Okay. What do
But
you think?
isn't it all in Chinese? Like, no?
Yes, it's all in Chinese, so I had to Google Translate everything.
Wow, effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sophia puts way more effort into finding places to eat than most other things.
I cannot disagree. I agree. Yes, I do that.
Can you kind of like run through Xiaohongshu and like what exactly it is? Because I think for me at least, and I'll say that I don't think I'm in the minority here because Xiaohongshu hasn't penetrated that deep into markets in Southeast Asia. But there are users here for sure. I know that there are quite a lot of users and it's growing in Malaysia and Singapore. So maybe you can just run through like what it is.
So basically, Xiaohongshu is a platform. It's very different from TikTok. It's great for niche interests like beauty, travel, fashion, cafes, but it does not have like the same fun viral vibe that TikTok does. So basically, it's like an app where the China users used it to put pretty pictures.
So Instagram-ish.
Yeah, it's kind of like Instagram, but it's very like catered to this aesthetic vibe.
Pinterest.
Yeah, it's very Pinterest-ish, but it's China version. Yeah, and it's everything is in Chinese. There's no like translation settings or anything. It's just all Chinese, and then yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then but if you do like search things in like Malaysia or Singapore, it does come out. But most of the time of the content is just things at the China side, like Shanghai, Taiwan, Macau, things like that.
Interesting. I mean, do you think that there's any relevance for us to be on an app like Xiaohongshu?
It's very niche to the Chinese community though. So
Do you see businesses on Xiaohongshu? I think that would be a better question.
I mean, sure, if the businesses are targeting like specific audience, like Chinese speaking users or luxury buyers in China or in Singapore and Malaysia, Xiaohongshu might be a good option in my opinion. But if it's like a bigger brand that are targeting like a larger number of audience, it might not be the best fit because it does not have the same mass appeal as TikTok. Like it's basically very niche. Yeah, so it's gonna be like very tricky, I would say, for businesses to leverage Xiaohongshu for their brand.
Okay.
Do you see ads like we see on TikTok?
No. It's just basically Pinterest with captions.
It's probably a little different in terms of the advertising structure because I'm assuming the advertising based. I don't know enough about it. But okay, so if you see lack of penetration here, I think the push towards Xiaohongshu in the US has stopped by now. Do you see there being any relevance in the long term? Because for me, when I'm looking at these type of things, right, I try and look at it, okay, cool. If it's a fad, awesome, let's do a post about it, let's make fun of it or whatever. But we shouldn't invest into something that's a fad, right? Because we're looking at sustainable and growth, right? Would you recommend that, say we had a client where the audience was relevant, that we should figure out how to be on Xiaohongshu, or figure out how to help clients get on there? We're a traditionally non-Chinese speaking agency. Like we're terrible at it. We have the best Chinese speaker, Shireen, here. Which is
And I'm
weird.
super good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we're traditionally a non-Chinese speaking agency. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, it's an interesting perspective. Shebi, you've never used it before as well, right?
I've not even seen it. I've heard of it, but I've not seen it.
Fair enough. I mean, that's kind of an indication that maybe penetration isn't super high yet. Okay, then what do you guys think of the TikTok ban? Like, if the TikTok ban had gone through and like properly gone through where they stopped it forever, right, in the US, do you think that would have impacted us significantly? Because, I mean, from my perspective, I get a ton of US content pushed to me all the time because I think that's just the way the algorithm works for me. I do look at TikTok as partly it updates me a lot on global stuff. And if you really look at the way the world works, apparently everything the US is global. Don't know why, but it is what it is. What do you think that would have impacted all of us, or like that would have impacted our clients or the markets we work in?
I don't think it would impact us significantly per se, but I think in terms of like what you say, in a lot of like the trends originate from America, right? So in terms of that, maybe we might be seeing a different in like what kind of trends comes out on TikTok, and in terms of like content creation, the type of content that we push out might be changed a little bit here and there. But I think what it does, it really serves as a reminder for like brands in Singapore and Malaysia or in this region as well to like kind of stand that like, okay, if you put all your eggs into one basket, if let's say we really just fully focus on pushing out content only on one single platform like TikTok, and then let's say the TikTok bans, and then what next? So it really serves as a reminder for us to diversify our social media strategies, and that we need to like do it across all platforms. But then the questions like whether or not brands have the resources, enough resources to manage all these different platforms comes into play again. So yeah.
I mean, I think diversifying your platforms is important. But at the same time, I don't think the ban in US would have impacted us or our clients per se. I mean, it's just a reminder that it could happen to us too.
Yeah.
I guess that's the reminder. But otherwise, I don't think as a business we'll be impacted much. Sure, there are some local businesses who have an audience based in America, but they still wouldn't be their primary target for sales and whatnot. So it's just a matter of audience.
Yeah.
True. Okay. I mean, yeah, if it's impacting like a few people significantly because they sell primarily to the US, sure. But that's not really a macro concern per se. Okay. But can I ask you something? Do you think that they'll ever look at a ban like that in markets like Singapore and Malaysia? Because I know that, for example, in Malaysia, they're contemplating a ban on TikTok for people under 16, right? That's kind of been something that's been discussed.
It's something that's been discussed for many years now. I don't think it'll ever happen because there's just too many sellers and too many people who rely on TikTok as a platform to operate their businesses. I mean, it's the same in the US, but yeah, I think if it comes to it, people would not be too happy. So they probably just wouldn't go through with it.
Yeah, because if you scroll like TikTok on a daily basis, like I do, basically like, every day there's gonna be like TikTok live. Sellers are selling clothes, food, household items. So I think if Malaysia is planning to do so, it's gonna anger a lot of people because it's like the source of income for most of the P40 society in Malaysia.
Can I check who here has bought something from TikTok Shop?
Me, I wanted to share about it. I'm really excited. Can I share, please? Like, no, it's really exciting because I was on TikTok Malaysia, right? I was in Malaysia. And then I saw this phone case, like a random cheap phone case, right? It was 1 cent ringgit, like 1 cent, including delivery fees. Maybe because it's my first time purchasing on TikTok, I don't know what kind of vouchers I have, but like it was only 1 cent. And so before they delivered, I thought it was just gonna be a sticker, right? Because it's just 1 cent. Like how, like they can't possibly give me an entire phone case, but they did.
Yeah, you get that as a first-time user.
That was so exciting.
No, it's funny. We don't even have like a physical 1 cent anymore.
Could you have bought more than one?
No, you see, I thought that, that was the part where I was kind of stupid. I should have bought more than one, but I just got.
Because even if it's a sticker, right, and they're selling you 1 cent, 10 cents not gonna break the bank.
I know everyone's been telling me off about it, but
Wait, is this the Octo sticker, the Octopus sticker?
I don't have it because I bought it for someone else. But it was like phone case, and then there's even like a thing where you can pull out, so it becomes a stand.
Oh,
It's so exciting, when it came, I was like, oh my god, it's real.
Okay, but sorry, Sophia, you said you also buy from TikTok Shop, right?
yes.
Do you buy regularly? Like,
Yes.
I'm not. Oh, Jesus Christ. Shelby, what about you? Do you buy anything from TikTok Shop?
I've been buying seafood from Sabah on TikTok Shop. I know.
Actually, to be honest, that is a thing across South Asia. People just buy a shit ton of live or like groceries and like stuff. It's so weird. Buy this melon, buy this fish. In Singapore, there's this famous, it's a Shopee live guy or a Facebook live, I forget which one. He's in Little India selling seafood from a hawker center. And he's like selling live seafood and fish and stuff. And he said, yeah, he makes like tens of thousands of dollars from just selling fish like that. I don't understand it. I don't. Live selling to me is weird because you have to wait to buy something.
You know what I've noticed is these live streams, they are always on at like 2:00 in the morning or like it's impaired. So you can't really think. So you just click purchase and then you think later on.
So
That's what happened to me.
I always thought live selling was a bit like, I get why it works because in China it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I get why it works. But I've seen people be on a live stream buying stuff. They buy one item on a 4-hour live stream, and they've been on that 4-hour live stream for 4 hours, and they buy one item for $8, or in this case, 1 cent, right? But they were on a live stream for 4 hours, and I was there laughing on the live there joke. I'm thinking this must be something real funny. Like, what is it? And it's a live stream. And then I stopped being their friend because it's weird. But again, I'm not the audience. But like, what can I understand? So, like, why TikTok Live versus Shopee versus Lazada versus Facebook? It's roughly the same sellers, to be very honest.
Because I'm already on the app
Yeah.
and the lives appear as you scroll, then you just like pause and don't think and continue watching, and then you end up buying something.
Oh wait, so like you guys discover live through the platform. You're not actively looking out for that, or
I don't think it was an intentional thing.
when you're lonely and have nothing to do.
So it's like pushed to you. They're like, watch the lives, watch the lives.
Yeah, TikTok algorithm so good. It's like, oh, this person seems lonely. Live. Okay, now I'm joking, obviously. Okay, how would you suggest that brands jump in on lives if they're selling? So they're obviously retail, not B2B services, but like if they're retail brands, would you suggest that everybody should get on live, or should you suggest there's like a specific segment that should be on live? How does that work? I'm assuming Balenciaga and YSL aren't going on TikTok live with something, look at the bag, buy it, and then throw it in, take another bag, right? I'm assuming that there's categories and stuff like this. Like, who would you suggest gets on live? Who would you suggest doesn't get on live?
I think in Singapore, a lot of local clothing brands get onto TikTok Live. So, for example, like one of the brands I can think of, or like one of the first few brands they got on was like Young Hungry Free. So it's a local Singaporean clothing brand. They do diversify their marketing, right? They have it on TikTok, they have it on Instagram. They even set up a Telegram group where their customers kind of like talk to each other, saying like, oh, I bought in this size, it fits me, blah, blah, blah. Really create an entire community. They have it. And it's crazy because in Singapore, a lot of brands are doing that. Like they create Telegram groups so that all their customers can chime in and be like, okay, yeah, this clothing, this size fits me. It's good in some ways because it really helps you like, let's say I look at the clothes, right? And I'm like, oh, this dress, I don't know whether it would fit my body type or whatever. I go into this group and then I see like other people with like similar body shapes and then what size they wore.
They put up pictures of themselves and stuff. And
They do, like some of them take like mirror selfies. And then they're like, oh, it's a little bit too big, or like, oh, it's a little bit too small, I recommend sizing down.
that
But
group
the
is
thing
gonna be full of real creeps. You don't,
no,
don't
but
see
it's really
anything.
wholesome because
Like 10,000 people, 8 real shoppers, 9,902 people, 92 people just there.
yeah,
Probably.
so, no, there's a moderator that kind of like removes creepy guys, I guess.
But they don't. The smart ones won't say anything other than thumbs up.
Yeah, so
I wish I was joking, but okay.
So yeah, so Young Hungry Free goes on TikTok Live quite often as well. What they do is like they have different like people, they bring in models of like different body shapes, different body types, and then they kind of like let people see how it fits onto these models. And then if let's say the audience have any questions, they'll be like, oh, does this color look on this person's skin tone? You know, like they have like so many, they basically just address all these client questions and then do the live for like hours.
Can I make an observation? I've never seen you guys this enthusiastic about like work related stuff, or like this knowledgeable about work. Like I'm like, oh, it's fine. You're just like, oh, I'll check the website, and then Young Hungry Free, a company we've never worked with, I've never heard of, and suddenly you're just like, you know their marketing channels, you know their customer.
We're all just a bunch of shopaholics.
What is wrong with you guys? Right. Again, but again, right, I'm not a good example of a consumer. I actually don't buy stuff. And yeah, I really don't buy stuff. It shocks people when I don't buy stuff. What would you, so it's a challenging question for me because I also think that I'm trying to look at things from a very kind of like a open and kind of like have a blank slate because I don't have a bias towards this, right? But when you guys are going like shopping live and stuff like that, what's the factor that keeps you kind of hooked in? Because you can shop on any platform and you can shop in many different ways. Live, for some reason, keeps people hooked in buying stuff they probably shouldn't buy. I'm assuming, Shelby, you've bought some seafood that you didn't want to buy. But that guy was like, buy it, buy it. You're like, ah, and you press the button. That 1 cent thing, now you're going to go back and see something. Oh, it's 3 ringgit, but it's okay, I'll buy that anyway.
Yeah, it's 15 ringgit now.
Yeah, then you just go buy and buy that. And then, Sophia, you're just buying stuff anyway, so it's different. But yeah, what kind of keeps you guys stuck on that platform and that, sorry, maybe not platform, but that style or that particular format of shopping?
I think it's the fact that I know that the product is real. Like if on a TikTok live, you know that you can see the product, and so like, you know that it's real, and I'm not scared of it, like of being scammed.
Yeah, because sometimes you will get something that is different from the pictures.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just want to see it in real life.
Yeah.
Don't shop on Temu. Shop on something else.
No, but yeah.
I think
No.
that and watching other people like purchase it while you're on the live
Yeah.
kind of builds the confidence. You're like, okay, like everyone else is getting it, so like it'll
Yeah, no, but
probably
that creates that FOMO-ness, right? You're missing out on something, right? It's psychological in that sense. But okay, I mean, I've seen like people jump and buy stuff and everything. Like, so the concept of queues in like restaurants is that pure reason that Asians run to queues because it means it's good, right? Again, not my thing, but it's the same thing with that. Why would it keep you there? Because let's say, for example, if it's someone super engaging, super funny, they're like, you know, they're entertaining you watching, I get that. And then they're selling one thing every 2 minutes, they're selling a different item, but it's 1.5 minutes of you laughing at it. I get that. And I'm assuming that there are live sellers like that. I've seen like example of live streams where literally there's a Chinese lady holding up a bag for 2 seconds and throwing it aside, grabbing something else, throwing it aside, grabbing this, throwing it aside.
They're very famous one.
Yeah, so many of those. And I've seen a bunch of it's not just that one. There are like thousands of that. Why the hell would you buy?
From my observation, like TikTok live, sometimes a lot of these sellers have like special promotions going on during the live.
Mhm.
I think that's what captivates, like make people want to watch this live, right? Because it's only like during that short period of time. Then you're like, oh, comment this now, and you will get blah 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 blah.
That one I understand.
Yeah.
But okay, maybe what motivates me is a little different because even when I was younger and like they had all those massive sales and everything, and like you would go down and there would be like 90% off, but you had to fight the crowds to get it because it was more physical. I didn't grow up in the TikTok era, obviously. I didn't do it. I was like, I can't be bothered. I'd rather not have it than have to fight a sweaty auntie who's punching me in the stomach. That was a real story. An auntie did punch me in the stomach a couple of times because I was in her way while she was trying to grab some stuff. So I don't.
this
I
is
don't-
how you shop online.
When no, it's shopping online when I was growing up was expensive. Just shipping alone was crazy. Okay, no, that's so interesting. That's so interesting. So hold on. Do you guys follow any particular TikTok like live sellers? Or is it pure just discovery, random stuff, product based like shopping?
I actually follow one. I was just gonna bring this up. There's this, like you mentioned, right? Like there are some people who watch live streams for the sake of watching it. They're never going to purchase anything, and that's me. For this one seller, she sells gummies, and she's based in like something like in the UK. Yeah, I just watch her pack
Let's
her.
clarify a gummy. So you mean like, you know, like jelly based candy, right?
Yeah.
So during the live, they show you how to make it, or like
No, she's just packing like other people's orders. She's just like, yeah, she's just packing people's orders. And I'm just there watching for hours and hours on end. Like,
Is she selling or is she just live streaming?
she's live streaming her process of her packing the orders that have been made.
But she's not selling, right?
Yeah, she's not selling. She's just packing them.
Yeah. So live streaming, I kind of understand because people like to live vicariously to others, or this is what we call brain rot. Someone's doing something repetitive and administrative, and you are just following through because visually it stimulates you to a point where you're not dead, but at the same time, it's not exactly heavy watching, right? Completely understand that. The selling part is what I don't get. Because if I'm watching something, when I need to buy something, I have to go in with the intention to buy. At least that's me. And again, I have a feeling I'm an outlier now versus being the norm where I used to be the norm. You guys, I'm assuming when you're on TikTok, you're not going there with the intention to buy. You're just on TikTok scrolling to death.
Yep.
Right? And then you buy. So like what drives you? Do you guys, again, you may not know, but do you guys know what drives you to do that? Like what's that push factor?
I genuinely think if the lives appeared during the day, I wouldn't have made those purchases. It's just because it was at night and I was bored and
yeah.
I
see,
swear
like,
this app is able to identify people who are bored. Okay, so I'm suddenly changing my opinion on TikTok ban. I think people under the age of 35 shouldn't be allowed to use it. This is what I'm hearing right now. Next thing you know, you guys are gonna be in debt.
My parents buy
And
more
it
stuff on
was
TikTok
50
than me.
ringgit. It was 2,000 ringgit. I sold my house. Yeah, no, don't do that, guys. So your parents buy more stuff on TikTok?
Yeah, they buy more stuff on TikTok than me. So every now and then I receive a parcel from like TikTok shop and I'm like, it's always for my parents. Always.
What do they buy though?
I have no idea. Like I've never asked. But a bunch of things, apparently. So one thing, I don't know if you know, but some sellers in Singapore, they do like my cousin, she opens an online shop selling earrings and stuff, curated earrings. Now she's doing this thing where she flies to Thailand and then she live streams in Thailand and then they basically take orders from like Singaporeans of like the things that they can buy and like when she live streams stuff in Thailand. And then the Singaporeans will then purchase and whatever stuff. And then she'll bring back those purchases and then send it out to the Singaporeans.
I think when there's a very strong cost benefit element to it, I get it. But those are also people that you have to go and follow and find out, right? Because there are live sellers that are going to specific places promoting their stuff. There's a pull factor there. You guys are buying just because you're not there and you'll see it pop up.
Yes.
I think that's how you initially discover them, to be honest.
Yeah. And then you get hooked. And then
Yeah,
it's like-
and then you follow and then you
Yeah.
get
I'm starting to really support this band. That's horrible, guys. I mean, that's great for you, I guess. Horrible in general. Horrible for your generation. Okay. One last thing that I want to kind of talk about that, like localized social media platforms. Things that are specific to our market, things that are specific to us, right? I actually don't know any localized social media platforms, but that could be because I'm completely out of the conversation yet.
Lemonade.
Lemonade.
Isn't Lemonade?
Lemonade. Yeah.
It's by ByteDance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is that a localized app?
I mean, a lot of Singaporean, like a lot of the content there now is very like Singaporean Malaysian, I guess.
Yeah, that's because the algorithm focuses on localized stuff, right? So,
But like,
so when we say like, wouldn't you say Lemonade is extremely commercialized though? It is, right?
I'd say so.
Yeah, it's trying to become a mainstream app. I don't think ByteDance created something that would be like a ByteDance would create something that's like, oh, we only want like 2 countries to use it. ByteDance like, nah. If it doesn't make $1 billion, then you get out, right? I think bringing in shopping platforms like Shopee and Lazada. Nah. Like those are pure shopping platforms. For example, I know Grab tried to be like an everyday app type thing. Said their tagline was like, you know, we're everyday app, super app. They killed that immediately when they realized people don't give a shit. Shopee and Lazada added in live streaming, added in like games, added in gamified versions. No one's using that shit.
yeah.
No one uses it. Like people who use it are people they don't want on the app. Right? The discount hunters and people with low shopping volume. How do you like, is there a need for localized platforms or like platforms that cater specifically to very, very minor differences in usage and culture? Because for example, during the state of the big social media wars, right? And when you guys were 4 years old or something, it would have been, there was hi-fi that died. It was like Friendster, MySpace, Facebook. Like Facebook beat everybody. Hi-fi, Facebook killed hi-fi, killed everybody. But there were these hundreds and thousands of, I would say there were the dozens of these big social media platforms that popped up and they got really popular in individual markets. But the thing is, globalization happened and we suddenly realized that the world is bigger than my town that I live in. People started saying, cool, I want to kind of see what's out there. So that's why Facebook became big, Instagram became big. Do you think we need localized apps at all?
No.
I also said a bunch of really random names to you guys that you have no clue what
Yeah, I was lost when you said hi-fi. The only thing I thought of was the 1, 2, 3, 4 hi-fi.
I don't even know what that is. I've never felt more old and I hate what we're doing to myself. All right. Okay, cool. Maybe we can end it by kind of just giving like final thoughts on maybe the importance and relevance of TikTok for us individually in these markets. We can end it in that one.
No, I think TikTok will continue to be a very like important app that brands should prioritize, especially for brands targeting like B2C clients, right? Of entire, let's say you're directly looking for consumers, then TikTok's like the great place to do so. For like B2B clients, I mean B2B businesses, TikTok is a great avenue to really showcase your brand's identity. to show your brand, to show my potential clients like, oh, this is, we're fun, we're chill, whatever, if that's what you're going for. So yeah, I think TikTok as a whole will continue to grow in, especially like, well, in Singapore especially. Yeah.
And I just wanted to add on that. And I think it also reminds us to, like, these platforms aren't guaranteed to last forever.
Yeah.
So it is very important for businesses to keep options open and then have backup plans. Whether it's TikTok, Xiaohongshu, or other app, you have to understand your audience. You have to know where they spend their time and always ready to adapt to whatever that is coming.
Actually, so Sophia, you had something that was very interesting actually, because you're suggesting that brands should diversify a little bit, so maybe don't be overly reliant on a single platform.
Yeah. I mean, if this plan is happening, if it's not, then it's fine.
Okay, I like it. I don't have a problem with that.
I think it's going to be very relevant for the next few years at least. But with every single social media platform, there will come a day where it dies. And yeah, I don't think it's going to be relevant for too much longer. Maybe the next 4 or 5 years. And after that, we'll move on to the next big thing. And then the brands will need to evolve again.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, I think with that, I think we can kind of end this. Bam. Solid ending, guys. Solid ending.